Like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, or this will be in your bed tonight. What's something that you once believed to be essential in your life, but after going without, decided it really wasn't? I used to hold on to every single workbook from my primary and secondary school. Bits of cardboard and fabric I could use for stuff and other stuff like that. After moving out of the house for a year then returning, I realized I'm never actually going to do stuff with them. Living without them for a year helped me see I don't need to hold on to this stuff, which I think saved me from a potential hoarding problem. Edit. Spelling. I have recently gone through a phase where I've been getting rid of stuff I don't use and organizing my place. It's been incredible. It's like a huge weight off my shoulders. I strongly recommend it to everyone. A while back I saw a documentary about how much crap people have in their house. There was a quote, "Clutter is just deferred decisions." That quote resonated with me so much. I realized I had so much stuff that I acquired at one point but now wasn't sure what to do with. So now I'm pretty decisive. If something doesn't have a clear place in my home, or I am not using it actively, it's gone. It's great. Edit. For everyone asking for the link to the documentary, A Cluttered Life, Middle Class Abundance. Also I should note that the particular quote, "Clutter is just deferred decisions," may have come from related article one was reading while watching that documentary, rather than the documentary itself. I can't quite remember. Googling it shows it is referenced in many articles. Either way, watching that documentary one night, while reading some various related articles, really motivated me to make a change. The houses in that documentary looked like my family home growing up and the homes of my childhood friends. I suddenly felt very strongly that it doesn't need to be this way. We don't need to live like this. On the other hand, I have so many projects I gathered the bits for years ago and never got around to that I'm now doing during the lockdown. You always need some of what you kept soon after you get rid of it. Not much of it, but you don't know which not much until it's gone. On the other hand, I've found myself going out and buying things a few times recently that I know I already have, but buying a new one is easier than finding them. I believed it was essential to be accompanied by people so that I wouldn't feel lonely. However, I have realized that there's a massive difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Sometimes I don't feel lonely despite being alone, and other times I end up feeling lonely even though I have company. Sometimes I don't feel lonely despite being alone, and other times I end up feeling lonely even though I have company. I've always only felt lonely around other people. It's all about the company you keep. I used to be the host in my friendship group. I had people around every day so I wasn't lonely. Then at some point I realized I was sat in a room with up to 9 people just looking at their phones or playing a game. Something they could be doing at home. Maybe 2 of them were actually nice people who wanted what was best for me, as I did for all of them. Unfortunately, most people are self-absorbed and not very caring, but those guys are kept at arm's length. If you choose your friends wisely, even when you're alone you won't feel that way. Suboxone. The opioid maintenance medication. It's helpful for many, and I believe it helped me to a certain extent. However, every time I would try to get off of it I would land right back where I started. After the last time once I had picked up using again, I decided to just cold turkey instead of getting back on the medication. Once the withdrawals and mental fog cleared, I rediscovered actual joy. Well done. Not an easy thing to do at all. And now life is kitty salad time? Seriously though, congratulations. That's so awesome that you're living well now. I wish you more and more joy. A ducking swimming pool. My god, what a mistake. I used to just lay awake at night and listen to my electric meter run. Kids, take it from me. Join a pool. Don't own one. Much like a boat, you don't want a pool, you want a friend with a pool. Bring out another 1,000. Dessert. I cut back massively on sweets 18 months ago and I've lost 65 pounds. I didn't really miss sweets after a while. Any tips you have for a newbie trying to give up desserts? Start slow. If you have dessert every night, cut out one night and make that the new habit. Then increase it by one more, or start making fruit the dessert some nights. You can make amazing applesauce just by finely slicing some apples and simmering them in a little water with cinnamon for an hour and then mashing them up. Or have a piece of 80% dark chocolate. Your body agrees that it's getting a piece of chocolate, for the chocolate is so rich that it tends not to ask for much more. I tried cold turkey and it was a really painful experience for me with a really hard backlash. Slowly adjusting my habits over a period of months and even years has been much easier for me. That abusive girlfriend I had in high school. Same here. Tough. I wish I had found out before she drove away most of my friends. Dude, that sucks. Hope you stay strong with the rest of your friends. Happy Cake Day 2. Bottled water. I live in an area with safe tap water. It doesn't taste great, but gets the job done. When coronavirus hit and there was a crazy rush on bottled water, I couldn't get my hands on any. Turns out, I don't care about bottled water. I'm drinking tap water like a champ now, and it's practically free. I wish people would stop paying for bottled water and feeding the industry. It's such a waste of money to bottle and ship, and causes significant harm to the towns they bottle it from. Just buy a filter if you don't trust the probably fine tap water. Yep, I think many people have a preconceived perception that because it's pricey and has authentic mountain spring minerals that it tastes nicer, but after a few days of tap water you don't even notice the difference. Saves plastic waste too. Tobacco. Every day I would tell myself, this is bad for you, but you can't quit anytime. It seemed like I was in control when I really wasn't. I saw it as essential without seeing it as essential, if you know what I mean. I believe that is what makes cigarettes so addictive. They make you lie to yourself. Once I stopped, I truly felt like I could live the rest of my life without tobacco. I agree, but they make you lie to yourself. This applies to any addiction, tbh. Yep, that seems to be a defining factor in addiction. You lie to yourself because you're split between fighting that addiction and defending it. Choose your fights wisely. It's much easier to say I can quit anytime while you're consuming nicotine. Try saying that when you have a craving. Those words won't sound the same. Facebook. Didn't Facebook just turn into garbage in the early 2010s? Which is why everyone ended up leaving. Yeah, right around 2014. I rode the whole wave. It was at its peak when it only allowed college students. Even for a while after it opened its doors to everyone, it was still good. You still had a majority of fun stuff your friends posted. Not to sound cliche, but it got ruined once all the boomers and grandparents discovered it. Then that allowed for even more uneducated people of every age to hop on, and it just went downhill from there. Disposable paper towels. During university I was too cheap and broke to pay for them, so I went without. Once I got used to using washable cloths to clean up, I didn't even really feel the need for paper towels. Now that I'm out of school I can afford to buy paper towels. I keep some around. I realize how wasteful they are and I try to use them sparingly. I only use paper towels for cleaning up disgusting things, like cat vomit. As someone who just cleaned up cat vomit this morning, I agree. Alcohol. 16 months sober. Congrats. Keep it up. You're doing great. Nice work. Life is so much better without alcohol. No hangovers ever again. No more post-drinking anxiety. That was always the killer for me. Coming up on 2 years here. Sugar in coffee or tea. I freely chose to give it up, and I don't miss it. This is my hurdle. I don't eat sweets. Don't drink soda. But I still put too much sugar in my coffee. I need to work on that. Did you wean yourself down? Or just cut it abruptly? I cut it abruptly to pure black coffee. The trick is having better coffee. Probably sounds vain, but things like eyelash extensions or getting my nails done. Really thought I needed those things to feel pretty. That's the power of advertising, baby. It's proven. Women are more likely to get hired for a job by wearing at least some makeup than none at all or too much. Men, we just have to wear a tie, which is a one-time purchase that doesn't require maintenance. Going out all the time. Timely. Mine was the opposite. I would stay in every evening because to me it was important to keep the same routine of wake, work, home, sleep. I hated staying out because then I wasn't at home painting or programming. Suddenly I had a mental status shift and realized I hated going home after work. So I made about 15 different friends. Barely any knew each other and would hang out every single night for 3 years before going home to bed. Now I'm at a happy medium. Just kidding. I'm in quarantine. The approval of others. Oh man. I had a horrible time through high school with this issue, to the point of half-assed suicide attempts. Jump ahead about 10 years. I'm cleaning out some stuff and come across my HS yearbook. I decide to flip through and look up some of the people I knew. And find myself LMAO. All the people in those pictures were just kids. They were no more or less dorky and immature than I was. Why the hell did I spend so much energy giving a damn what they thought of me? Especially since I've never seen any of them ever since. Cable TV, satellite TV. Agreed. Cut cable years ago and never missed it. Why would I pay to be advertised to? Might get downvoted, as it isn't actually an essential at all. But I was addicted and honestly believed I needed it to live. Meth. Been clean for 3.5 years now. Feels good, man. You can do it. I'm 12 years off meth and I don't miss it at all. Don't miss it at all. Just watching that number of Monks years clean grow higher and higher. No effort in my part. Once I decided, it was the easiest thing ever to stay clean. And congrats on being clean for 12 years. I'm proud of you. I might get downvoted, but weed. I wasn't physically addicted, but I smoked every 2 to 3 hours every day for 17 years. It had become a warm coat in a cold world. Having a daughter, I realized I was much like my dad in drinking. I was an irritable a-hole when I wasn't smoking, would pick fights over stupid stuff, and spend most of my time too tired to do much beyond what was required of me. I was also constantly broke and borrowing money. It's so nice to be clear-headed with energy. I spend more time with my family and I even sleep better. This is by no means directed at other people. I still love weed, the culture, and my fellow heads. Everyone needs to do what is right for their own lives. I'm glad you've found a happy, clear place in your life. I'm sad that you felt the need to almost apologize for it. Weed, like any substance, can be detrimental in excess. Very true. Too much of nearly anything can be a bad thing. Thanks for the thoughts, stranger. Coloring my gray hair. Waste of money and time. I no longer care if it makes me look old. Women spend a lot of money to get the beautiful platinum color I have naturally. Female here, and I'd totally let my premature grey grow out if I could have that cool streak versus peppered all over. My mum has it peppered all over. Her hair is naturally black. It looks pretty cool, especially since she had it cut into a short, chin-length bob. Very chic. Admittedly, Claire Saffitz from BA has one of the coolest grey streaks though. New clothes. I used to do the seasonal shop. 110 new items for every season. All necessities. So 4 times a year. I had over 3 closets worth of clothes, including things I'd had in high school. 10 years ago. A year ago I decided that not buying new clothes would be a good way to reduce my spending. So I started only buying clothes that truly filled a gap or replaced something I had actually worn out. Which means that in a year I have only bought 1 work dress, 1 pair of leggings, 1 basic shirt, and 1 special event outfit. I started gutting my huge collection of clothing and getting rid of all the items I didn't absolutely love wearing or need for work. It has been freeing and I would never go back to the seasonal shop life. I didn't even know doing a seasonal shop was a thing. I grew up poor. Same. No idea this is a thing. I only buy clothes if something starts looking too worn, or if I need a specific piece of clothing for a special occasion. I've never seen the point of a ton of clothes when I wear scrubs for work 5 days a week, then come home and switch into pajamas. Toxic friends. I had a lot of toxic friends in my early 20s and in retrospect it definitely had a negative impact on my life. Decided to go back to college at 25 and just cut off contact with them. My life has dramatically improved by vetting those I'll let in my inner circle. I had the same thing. Guys who would egg me on to do stupid shit or judge me for trying something new. I cut them all out except one of them last year and started university as a 27-year-old. Big change, but so far I've never been happier. Nicotine. Haven't smoked since quarantine started. Good job and good luck. A rigorous skincare routine, but only because no matter what I try, my skin seems to stay the same, which I'm fine with. Came here to say something like this, but from a different perspective. In high school, after a bit of battle with my skin, I kinda gave up on it. Didn't wash my face outside of my regular showers, for which I just used the same body soap as I used everywhere else, for a month or two. It got worse, and then it got a lot better. Later research learned about how aggressive washing can affect your body's natural oil production, skin ecosystem, etc. While this obviously won't be a universal solution for everyone, something I recommend to people is just going a few months without doing anything. No special soap, no extra washing, nothing. Just some water splashed on your face if you're feeling particularly gross. And even then, don't dry off your face with a towel. Leave your skin just a bit damp, let it absorb some water. Bullying siblings. For years I thought I had to keep accommodating them, tying myself into knots to try to get their approval or even just acceptance, because they came out of the same uterus as me. It turns out that going no contact at all, calmly and without malice, was easy and oh so peaceful. At first I thought you meant that you'd given up bullying your siblings. Instagram. Not seeing people desperately trying to get likes and influence has done wonders my mental health. Bottled water. I am and have always been an avid water drinker. I spent nearly 20 years of my life only drinking bottled water. Now I feel so horrible because of the pollution. I now have a Brita filter water bottle and will drink from the tap a good bit except for well water, yuck. I never understood the need for bottled water except if you know you will be in a physical location without water, or if a hurricane is coming or something similar. Edit. Based on the responses, I should feel very lucky I live in a place where I trust the tap water. Makeup. Same here. I only wear makeup for special occasions and it makes me feel extra pretty for a bit. When I wore makeup every day, I thought I was ugly without it and I felt dependent on it. I think it's a fun way to dress up now. Mormonism. But you kept the really cool underwear, right? I would keep that part. My wife. I'm seeing a trend already. Yep, anyone that says money can't buy happiness hasn't been through a divorce. Smoking. I started way too young and smoked for about 15 years. Now I haven't smoked one in 18 months and I can't even understand why I needed it so much. Coffee. Thanks to a series of events, I was unable to have my morning cup of joe and had to go without it this month. Thanks Corona. Thanks to quitting, my acne has cleared up and I feel a little bit better without the high highs and the low lows. Also the never-ending chase of the caffeine dragon is a plus. I wanted to share an observation related to this. That may not be relevant to your situation at all, but your comment reminded me of it. I worked as a barista for 3+ years. I had the same customers every day for a long time, so I knew their coffee habits. People would start normal consumption, then slowly ramp it up to where they were coming to me for multiple drinks with 4 shots of espresso each per day. It wasn't my job to tell them it was too much, but it was too freaking much. Then they'd sometimes come back and say they stopped drinking coffee. It was giving them health problems. What a terrible beverage. What they didn't realize was that coffee, for most people, is fine. They just were having an astronomical amount, and then thought the substance was bad because they were drinking huge amounts of coffee and had negative health effects. Coffee is fine for most people. Just don't get to the point where you overdo it. I've been there myself. And working as a barista, it was really easy to start having too much. But being careful and realizing that 1-2 shots a day is reasonable and not having more than that has made coffee have pretty much no negative health effects. At least in my case. Cable news. In retrospect, exhausting. Labels. I spent about 25 years thinking that I needed to clearly define myself by labels in order to fit in or gain respect. Ultimately, I found that none of the many labels on places like Tumblr applied to me with the precision I wanted. This struggle with my identity bothered me badly for a very long time. I finally realized that even if I did manage to encapsulate the whole of my being into one line of text, what exactly would I do with that information? The only result I can see now would be that I'd just limit my behavior and preferences to continue adhering to those labels, and I'd be afraid to allow change into my life. And also, no one cares. My value to a person or group is based on my skills in the context of the group, not on some overcomplicated identity resume. I'll still call myself by certain approximate labels when necessary to add context to a comment, but I don't make them a priority in my life anymore. It's actually quite enjoyable to just be a nebulous entity. I don't have to behave based on some set of rules that I picked out. Haircuts. I've been cutting my own hair now for the past 5 or 6 years. Big barber industry is going to try to censor this. Oxygen. I gave it up some minutes ago. It's highly overrated. Are you still with us? I bet he's still hanging in there. Relationships. They're fun and can be great for character building, but they aren't needed to better yourself like some would, me, think. Validation from others. Soda. I still drink it, but I drink a lot more water now. Dating. I can't do it. I tried it. I just get tired of having to always consider the needs of another person when I want to do something. I couldn't imagine moving in with somebody for the rest of my life. Video games. I used to social distance myself to just play video games all day, not caring about everything else in my life. At some point I got my shit together and it all worked out. I still play games occasionally, but years after they are released so I can pick them up cheaper. Cigarettes. Minecraft. I had a severe addiction a few years back. For my working from home life, I've gone without using my mouse for my laptop as I sit on the couch, and I've gotten pretty used to it now. Speaking of which, although I knew this before, working from office is usually totally unnecessary and so are all meetings in person. I work much better from home, with alcohol, and at my own time. This one really close friend in college. Long story short, they betrayed me, and in a time in my life when I really needed friends I had none. And while I spent all that time sad and pining, I realized later that I made it through. Without someone I couldn't go a day without speaking to. Religion. Meat. Thought the vegetarians were weird. Grew up in a family of meat eaters. Then realized that my personal morals were not in line with my actions. If I wouldn't kill the animal myself, why should I pay someone else to do it for me? Bunch of other reasons too, but mainly the realization that my unnecessary food came at the expense of another's life. A relationship. Fizzy drinks. Abusive mother. As soon as I cut her out, life just became better and easier. Eating out. It's nice every once in a while, but after cooking at home during this pandemic, I have been feeling better in general, and the food is always how I like it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more interviews.